Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another new entry here. Once again based on a new suggestion, this one having been suggested in the past as well, and I'm finally getting around to talking about it here. It's an elusive creature that is apparently found throughout multiple parts of the US, but maybe even primarily in Canada, and it could be a mishmash of things. It could be several cryptids altogether, in other words, misinterpreted as one or the other, or it could be an all-new species of sorts that stands out on its own. But otherwise, this creature, while elusive, is good. In other words, that you don't run into it because it's considered very aggressive, very dangerous. So if you do happen to go out for a hunt for this creature in certain areas out there in the wilderness, just be careful. But it's known as this. You're looking at a picture of it now. It's called the Gugwe. Hope I'm saying that correctly, Gugwe. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the information associated with this cryptid, and I'll give my thoughts and opinions on it too. So what is this Gugwe? Well, it is a legendary cryptid that is again found throughout multiple parts of the United States and Canada, particularly out there in the Canadian wilderness, lakes, rivers, and maybe even some other areas too. It has been there for a long time, so much so, in fact, that Native Americans gave it its name. More on that here in a minute because there's multiple versions or interpretations of this name. But otherwise, most primary sightings, I guess here in the US and Canada, have been around the 1900s or so. But first, let's talk about the characteristics associated with it. Think of it like your average Sasquatch / Bigfoot. But even then, this is apparently in other words, challenged because it could be several other cryptids. More on that here in just a moment. But for now, we're going to go ahead and compare it more along the lines to a Bigfoot / Sasquatch. So it stands about 7 to 8 feet tall, weighs around 500 pounds, big creature in other words. It has your standard thick dark hair, just like your average Bigfoot, and most prominently, it has a very large head with a sloping forehead. That's why most interpretations of it fall under the category of this Bigfoot, because that's similar to other type of Sasquatches out there. It has red-yellow eyes. It can move very, very quickly. It's again very elusive when it comes to contact with humans, and otherwise the most distinctive feature about it, you'll know that it's within your area, has to do with its smell. Its smell is supposed to be very repugnant. Like you'll absolutely know you're within its area, like if it's in a distance nearby, because you're going to smell it. There's no way to avoid it altogether. Now, as far as the Native Americans and the meanings associated with their names, here's this. So apparently this creature has been around so long that the Native Americans grew to both fear and despise it. So back then, when they were around, let's say those certain parts of North America or Canada, they encountered this creature, and inevitably two of them, in other words, two of the actual Native American tribes were able to give it its name, the Gugwe, but they both mean different things. There's a tribe that's called the Kwakwaka'wakw, if I'm saying that correctly, and in their language, Gugwe means wild man or hairy one. And then another culture involves Native Americans called the Nuxalk, and in theirs, it means ghost or spirit. And in other interpretations, it means ogre or monster. So here you have several versions of the name for this creature, all of them still suitable, either wild man or hairy one, or the other one meaning ghost, spirit, ogre, monster. And that's essentially what they called it. And it's been known as that ever since. Why it's primarily tied also to the Bigfoot, again, harkens back to that sloping forehead. This is a term that's called a sagittal crest. Apparently, this is a crest on the skull that causes its elongated head status, along with the sloping forehead status. Very, very notable because so few creatures in the real world have this. Mostly gorillas. Gorillas are the ones that have this as well, but otherwise, if we're looking more on the lines of the world of cryptid, Bigfoots have been known to to have this. You've seen pictures and drawings and other types of even videos that showcases the Bigfoot slash Sasquatch with this notable type of head. So could this Gugwe be another variation of it as well? What makes it though different than the average Bigfoot Sasquatch is the fact that its face is also reported to be more on the lines of a baboon or a canine, meaning it has a canine-like snout, an elongated one, and this leads to other misinterpretations. Some people think that the Gugwe is actually a version of the dog man, something that I've talked about here on my channel before, or maybe even a version of a werewolf, which is a legendary creature in of its own. So you have several different angles about what this Gugwe could be. It could be the primary stance involving the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, or it could be something else like involving a werewolf or even a dog man. And then there was something else that I was reading stating that it could be its own cryptid, like its own strange, unique version of a gorilla or some other type of bear as well, if you even wanted to add that into the mix. So different versions of it here. It's up to you to decide which one works good. But these sightings have basically happened and they've escalated from the 1900s going forward. And again, those are found in certain parts of North America and into Canada. But it is known to be pretty aggressive, pretty territorial as well, despite the fact that they remain elusive and primarily try to stay away from humans. When humans do come across it, apparently it lets people know. Like it will act very aggressive around whoever is there and make sure that they get out of there at the same time. And just like any other large canine, imagine, if you will, like a large dog that starts to act very aggressive around someone. That's essentially what this creature is known to do. So if you happen to be within its vicinity, again, utilize caution with it. Stay away as far as you can, but at the same time, see if you can get out of there in that location. There's also some interesting information associated with chronicles. There's some YouTube channels, one that's called the Sasquatch Chronicles and another one that's called Matt Squatch Presents. And in there, they've in turn looked at various hunts associated with the Gugwe. Like they've been out there trying to gather more information and apparently trying to see what they can do to find evidence associated with this very, very elusive creature. By the way, one more notable thing associated with its aggression on the more dangerous side, but still at least the far-fetched side, is this. It's very, very aggressive to the point that Native Americans back then believed that it used to kill and then also eat humans. Now, there's no direct evidence associated with it, just again, the belief from this Native Americans. So again, something else to think about if you're doing any kind of hunt for this Gugwe or looking for more evidence on it. Just again, utilize caution. But that's pretty much it. That's all the information associated with this creature. Not much else to talk about because of its elusiveness. Only other thing that really stands out, I guess if you could call it as evidence, was in 1995, a man took a picture at a place called Chevin Chutes, Quebec, Canada, and there he was able to capture something, but nothing else. No one else has any kind of other evidence, either pictures or some other type of video. So maybe one day there'll be that magic evidence that pops up that showcases it in all of its glory. And if so, that'll help finally settle the debate what it truly is. Is it a Bigfoot, Sasquatch? Is it a dog man? Is it a werewolf? Is it a bear? Is it something else entirely different? I guess we'll know sometime later on. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.